Article dated October 2nd, 2023, entitled Special Forces Save Kids from Deep State Ritual Sacrifice, from realrawnews.com. Special forces on Sunday propitiously interrupted a satanic ritual where deep state lawmakers had fastened two prepubescent children, a boy and a girl, to sacrificial altars with plans to exsanguinate them for Baphomet, a demon allegedly worshipped by the Knights Templar in the 1300s, hoping the creature would destroy President Trump and his progeny. Special forces arrived at the sacrificial lair in Mendocino National Forest, California, around 10 p.m. and saw 5 cloaked figures standing in a semicircle and holding hands before a rectangular stone slab the width of 2 coffins. Worshippers of the goat-headed demon chanted, "Let Trumps be no more, let Trumps be no more," their features flickering in the light of tiki torches spaced across the area. Affixed to the altar were 2 small children, spread eagle and held in place with ropes around their wrists and ankles, and tent pegs staked to the ground. They were screaming into the air. Also atop the slab was a 2-foot-tall alabaster figurine carved in the likeness of Baphomet. A hooded worshiper in black robes had clasped a serrated knife between both hands and was holding it high above his head, poised to drive it deep into the boy's breastbone when a round from a suppressor-equipped rifle left a deep, dark cavity where his left eye used to be. The would-be murderer wobbled for a second, then collapsed as the other ritualists either fled on foot towards vehicles, which Special Forces had already sabotaged, or imbibed liquid from tiny glass vials hanging from necklaces that looked like shoestrings. 3 took a draught, asked for Baphomet's blessing, and succumbed to what must have been a fast-acting poison. As a Special Forces medic treated the helpless children, the other soldiers pursued the remaining cultist into the underbrush, demanding he surrender. He must have had a firearm tucked beneath his robes. Special Forces caught incoming fire, but the bullets struck only bark or zipped harmlessly past them. A voice echoed in the darkness, "Baphomet, take me." A single discharge followed the unholy plea for salvation. He was already dead when Special Forces caught up with him a minute later. He had put a pistol in his mouth and pulled the trigger. With the enemy defeated and the children saved, Special Forces egressed north on foot to a clearing at Plaskett Meadow Campground and requested exfiltration by helicopter. This was a strange one. The kids are safe. They're at Camp Pendleton, hopefully recovering from a very traumatic experience. He provided Real Raw News with details on how General Smith's office had prescient knowledge of the thwarted sacrifice. At 5 p.m. Sunday, a fifth columnist, a network of federal intelligence operatives secretly working against the cabal, contacted the general's attaché claiming to have information on an imminent human sacrifice involving 2 kidnapped children, and 2 deep state lawmakers, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon and House Representative John Surbanes of Maryland. He had an audio recording of Wyden and Surbanes espousing fealty to Baphomet and discussing plans to offer their demon lord 2 children that midnight. At one point in the conversation, Wyden mentions Plaskett Meadow Campground as draining them, and Surbanes said, "I've taken care of everything." The ever-cautious General Smith, our source said, was naturally suspicious of the audio file. The tale of 2 obscure Democrats conspiring to murder kids in the woods to appease a mythical demon that might fix their Trump troubles seemed impossibly fantastical. Nevertheless, the general had Marine Corps Forces Cyberspace Command forensically compare the voices on the file to known recordings of Democrat despots. Experts found a 99.5% match, good enough for General Smith. He did not, however, exclude the possibility or probability of white hats strolling into a trap. General Smith spoke with 5th Special Forces Group Commander Brent Lindemann, and they decided to send a small team in and have a large Marine force on standby. A Special Forces detachment was at Pendleton and didn't need long to prep for the op, our source said. He added that the notice was arriving near the campground undetected and determining where the sacrifice would take place in the dense forest. We didn't know who else would be there, or how many, or exactly where, or if they had sentries there in advance. A lot of variables in play: sacrifice, midnight, campground, kids, and those monsters were probably pedophiles too. That's what we had, our source said. A Marine Corps CH-53 Super Stallion helicopter inserted the team 2 miles east of the campground at 9 p.m. Upon arriving at Plaskett Meadows an hour later, Special Forces spotted 3 vehicles abutting the gravel road connecting the campground to Forest Highway 7. The engines were still warm. The team picked up a trail, multiple fresh footprints leading south. They advanced 500 yards and heard no more Trumps chanting mantras. Sarbanes was the guy with the knife and white and blue off the back of his head. The fact is, we got lucky because this all went down before midnight. We'll never know if that time was meant to be set in stone or if they rushed for whatever reason, our source said. He added that a second team later recovered the deep state bodies, saying that he could not presently disclose the other 3 names. Again, this article brought to you by RealRawNews.com.